From June 12, 26 years of uninterrupted democracy, would you say that internal democracy in Nigeria is working the way it should be? And Nigerians, are they educated enough to understand the power of the vote they have with them?
So much. I think for internal democracy, I'll start from that question, which I think very important in any given area. I'll contextualize it to political party. When we look at the internal party democracies of every political process, of course, as far as I understand that, I think the political parties are one of the major democratic stakeholders that have not held to their own bargain of democracy consolidation in the country. If you look at civil society, just like you've described, I think to a reasonable extent, the civil society has been very vibrant. We have our challenges, but of course, when it comes to delivering, to ensure we work for democracy and make democracy work, we do our bit. When we go to INEC, yes, there are challenges here and there, but I make bold to say that from 1999 to date, one of the most democratic institutions that have shown some level of improvement, no matter how little it is also the INEC. Of course, there are other challenges, which we'll have to discuss later on. But when it comes to the political party, in terms of their development, the consolidation, and how they contribute to development of democratic practices in the country, you see that it's not there. We don't need to, call out some of these things. You see even the party primary processes, dollarized in most instances. Of course, many said godfatherism is not an issue, but sometimes the way it's been practiced in the country, especially by mainstream political parties, it's abysmal in nature. You looked at even, I jokingly say this, the political party, they are a set of individuals that actually come together to make a rule for themselves, but eventually go against the rule, flout the rule, and eventually go and seek the court to solve their problem for them. For me, that doesn't add up, because you came together to do this to make this law. You see them going against their constitution. Of course, let me move away from political parties, and I make bold to also say that political parties are the set of, the constitution or the law says the major vehicle to ascend or to get to an elective position is actually through political party, no independent candidacy. But if you look at it today, you see where political parties, the level or the crops of leaders they produce and they give INEC to put on the ballot sometimes can be very funny. We're in the situation where we choose from the bad and worse, not the good and the best in this instance. So it's a bit challenging on that front. Let me move away from that and let me go to the executive arm of government. It's something that is sometimes, it's very, very funny when you looked at all of the years over time, the executive arm of government, most especially if you look at governance, if you look at upholding democratic principles. Yes, we have a bit of it. We'll have situations in time past in previous administration where freedom of speech, of expression is upheld, but in recent times it hasn't been that. You look at some of the aspect of transparency, accountability in the process, you see that is not at the highest front.